First of all, hallelujah!
It is 4th and 26. McNabb is back. He's looking. He is firing, and it is caught by Freddie Mitchell.
And Pizarczyk fumbles the football. It's picked up by Herman Edwards. 15, 10, 9, touchdown Eagles. I don't believe it. I don't believe it.
Jackson takes it at the 35. Picks it up. Looks for running room. He's at the 40. He's at the 45. Midfield. Oh! He's let it go! The short back. I don't care if he's short. He's running around. And he's in the end zone. And he's still going. And the Eagles win.
Bring it back again.
He steps up his head and falls forward. And he fumbles the football and the Eagles have it. And it's recovered.
The Philadelphia Eagles are Super Bowl champions. Eagles fans everywhere, this is for you.
You love the Philadelphia Eagles. Let me get a hell yeah!
E-A-G-L-E-S, Eagles!
Oh, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Sundays for the Birds, the absolute only show that makes every day feel like not just Sunday, but a very special Super Bowl Sunday. We are your hosts. I am the mayor of John Street, joined by one Kyle, not so sharp. Of course, Jake Long. And of course, because we're going to the Super Bowl, a fat fucking cigar and a stiff drink. Let's go, baby. Your Philadelphia Eagles are in Super Bowl 57 in Arizona. Before we get into that, got to throw it over to the boys. Jake, how you doing, brother?
Good, man. Anxiety's really kicking in today because I have off work tomorrow. So run a lot of errands, get ready for a Super Bowl party at my house tomorrow. I've already been running errands every day after work this week to pick up stuff, pick up food, alcohol, anything you can think of for the party. So just ready to get to it. Been saying every day this week I can't wait for Sunday, but when Sunday comes, I hope it slows down because just like my wedding and everything, everyone tells you, don't wish for the day to come because it goes like that, and that's probably what's going to happen Sunday as well. So I'm just ready for it, excited for it, and anxiety is really kicking in now.
Yeah, man. Well, we talked about this before. I'm a generally nervous fan anyway.
Yep.
Especially in the playoffs and especially now in the Super Bowl, right? So it's funny you mentioned that you're running around for the Super Bowl party. I will be there on Sunday.
Can't wait.
But you did leave out some terminology that you used in the pre-show, which is meat and cheese board. Because Jake can't say charcuterie.
Yep.
Charcuterie.
I stay away from those big words.
I feel you on that, brother.
That's right. But unfortunately, we're not playing Scrabble. We're only worried about the gridiron. So throw it over to you, Kyle. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good. I'm ready for the Super Bowl. It's good to have some real NFL football on again. It was a rough week off, let me tell you. It's gonna be a fucking long off season without it, let me tell you.
Flag football in the Pro Bowl is an even bigger
Terrible. Terrible.
Pro Bowl used to be.
But now I wanted to ask both of y'all, because y'all have really kind of already touched on it. What level is the anxiety at as a diehard Birds fan? Like, how much are you thinking about it all day? Like, are you doing your work and you get sidetracked thinking about it? Are you dwelling on it? Like how nervous is it for a 2-week stretch up until the Super Bowl? And how much worse does it get as the closer you get to it?
Oh, I think about it.
Butt clenching, asshole clenching, extra fucking nervous, cooking meth in my trailer and the FBI is driving by fucking nervous since halftime of the NFC Championship game.
Yeah, when we knew we were in.
That's a little much. How about you, Jake?
I mean, I think about it pretty much as soon as the one night after we won the NFC Championship game, immediately when we knew it was locked up, I looked at my wife. I said, "We need to start planning the party." I started putting flyers out to all my buddies and shit, starting to get things going. And every day since, it's just been wake up, think about the Super Bowl, can't wait for it, makes the day drag, and the night comes. I'm like, all right, one less sleep. After I fall asleep, And some nights, the one that I woke up like 2:30 is last Friday. I had basketball in the morning, and we were going to water park and stuff last weekend. And we're going in the middle of the night, couldn't fall back asleep because it was just like thinking about getting things ready for the water park, getting ready for basketball, and then out of nowhere, it's like, shit, I gotta keep planning the Super Bowl party. So I just hopped on my phone, start scrolling through shit, finding things to fucking order, writing notes of what to have for the party, and then got everything figured out. And we're what, 3 days away now?
Yes, sir.
And that's where the anxiety is really kicking in. Like I said, now that I'm off tomorrow, thank God I'm running all over the place to pick stuff up. So it'll kind of keep me calm. But if I was in my house, I'd be pacing back and forth all day long. That's how it'll be. I
Love
have
it.
football
Love it.
practice. I have football practice Saturday, so I'll keep my mind easy. I'll be able to hit some people. But that Sunday morning, man, it's gonna be. I'll probably walk 17 miles just pacing back and forth in my house.
For
Hey, man.
people that aren't, diehard sports fans or have a team that they just root for and they live by, they just don't get
No.
just the level of passion and the level of intensity it takes, man. It's crazy. I love it.
Yep, and I got to think of my next tattoo also because my first tattoo is after the first Super Bowl. So when we win it on Sunday, I'm gonna have to get another one.
Okay. Okay.
All right. I like it. All right. So let's keep it light here in the beginning. All right. So Jake, you have your dirty clothes that you've been wearing every game day since the beginning of the season. I know another buddy of mine had to blow off one of his best friends for a Super Bowl party because he watched every playoff game with his family, with his aunts or his cousins. Um, Cousins being the ones that aunt is the mother of, right? So he had to blow off his best friend's Super Bowl party to make sure that he was at his aunt's Super Bowl party because the Birds are undefeated in the playoffs while he's
Yep.
watching the game with that portion of his family. So I got to ask, what's something that you're going to do to make sure that the Birds pull this out? No matter how ridiculous it is, what's something that you're going to do? I know, Jake, you're going to rock your dirty clothes, but I'm sure there's something else you got up your sleeve. And Kyle, what's something that you're going to do other than gamble profusely?
Yeah, I mean, you guys already know that when the Eagles are on a winning streak, I told you I don't wash my underwear, my pants I was wearing, my socks I was wearing, my jersey or my undershirt, pretty much everything. I wear my Eagles Nike shoes every game day anyway, so no matter what, um, I'll have those on. But if they're on a winning streak, I don't wash those clothes. I throw them in a ball, put them in the back corner of my room, and they sit there until next game day. Hop in the shower, throw them on, get ready to go, take a whiff, make sure they don't smell too bad, good to go.
What
But
if
another
they do
thing,
smell too bad?
just spray a little extra cologne.
Spray a little extra cologne there. There you go.
All right.
But,
So before we get to you, Kyle, I got to ask, Jake, in the Long household,
mhm.
if Miss Alicia were to wash those clothes, walk me through that.
I mean, I usually I put my clothes in the washer and they get washed and they end up folded and I'm like, wow, the laundry fairy came and my clothes are washed. Hopefully she's not listening because she hates when I say the laundry fairy does our wash.
You got one of them too?
Yep.
Because I got one at my house, but mine
They're the
even puts
best.
the clothes in the hamper.
Whew.
Yeah. I mean, I
So they
shower in the
they don't
basement because I have a nice shower down here, so it's nicer to have my clothes just folded on our bench table down here because I just grab them, walking in the bathroom, and boom, good to
Let
go.
me tell you, what a man cave. Doesn't even leave the shower.
Yep. Yeah, I'm
Boy's
telling
got
you.
something good over
It
there.
was supposed to be like when we bought the house, it was technically called like the in-law suite, like down in the basement. It's supposed to be like a room, living room, and then the full bathroom down here. So that's what it's supposed to be, but it's now my man cave, and man cave is creeping out into the movie room because I already told my wife. I said when we win a Super Bowl, I have one Super Bowl wall over there. All these walls in here are filled, so those movie posters out there might need to, find a new home, and that'll be my new Super Bowl wall. So got to
I
keep
like
it
it.
growing.
All right, so Kyle, we got to throw it over to you. What's one crazy thing you're gonna do to make sure the Birds take it home on Sunday?
I look bad compared to Jake, but I don't know that I have one. I mean, I'll be watching the game. Obviously, I'll be rooting for him, but I don't have any good luck that I've brought as far as I know.
Well, there is one thing that you did.
What's that?
You picked us to lose the NFC Championship game. You fucking bum.
That is true.
I did. So, are you telling me I need to pick them to lose again?
Yep.
I will tell you, a lot of money's coming in on them, and that makes me kind of nervous.
Yeah.
Money always
Listen,
comes in on the Chiefs because everybody blows Patrick Mahomes.
Dude, money's coming in on, I think, more on the Eagles side than it is on the Chiefs from what I'm reading.
yeah. I mean, listening to radio is what makes me nervous. So I only try to really listen to Angelo in the morning.
From there.
Yeah, I try to listen to Angelo in the morning because obviously he's retiring next week. So I just want to listen to his last few shows. But then after that, it's hard to listen because it's so much confidence. I'm like, I don't like that feeling.
All right, so I got two things I'm going to do to make sure we win. And I'm going to show you guys what they are.
I hope he's not getting naked. Elbow drops his computer.
I was hoping he was wearing pants. I mean, I know sometimes when I do these, I don't.
I will be wearing this hat and drinking this exact fucking beer. I wore this hat when we won the NFC Championship game. I wore this hat when we busted the Giants' ass. And I was drinking this beer on both occasions. This hat's also very sentimental to me. My dad bought it for me this year when we went to my first Eagles game. Now, unfortunately, that game was a loss, but I wasn't wearing this hat for that loss.
There you go.
But I got this hat at my very first Eagles game at 24 years old. My dad bought it for me, and I think it's only fitting that I'm going to be wearing this hat when we kick the Chiefs' ass
Yes, sir.
on Sunday.
And one more thing I will be doing is my 65-inch TV that we watched the Super Bowl on with a lot of the same people that will be here Sunday were there 5 years ago. I'll be bringing that TV to the main watching room along with the projector, so it'll be the same TV as well.
Same TV.
Sir,
I like
I actually bought that TV middle of the season that year, and I think the second game I watched on it was when Wentz tore his ACL. So I almost fucking threw it out the window, but it ended up being a good thing all around. Then and now, because Wentz is a fraud.
So again, I just want to drive Kyle's point home. For those of you out there that are casual sports fans, or you're going to watch the Super Bowl for the Doritos commercial this year.
Oh man,
you will never understand exactly what this means to guys like Jake and I that live and breathe this team, and watching them play brings back all these great memories with our parents, and watching the Eagles fucking throughout those early 2000s when they were dominant for Jake because he's old through the early to late 90s. You guys will really never understand, but I pray to God that one day you do. I pray that one day you have the amount of passion that we do. I hope that you only know the feeling that I get when I watch Jason Kelsey give his Super Bowl speech 3 times a year, when I fucking tear up and get fucking over emotional, because that's one of the pinnacles of my life, was winning that Super Bowl. And I hope to God we win another one, and I hope to God that I see Jason Kelsey on those art museum steps one more time.
Yes, sir. Kyle will be over there cheering for Rihanna at halftime.
don't lie, we all will be.
Nah, that's when I might actually eat something, but probably not.
I mean, I'm cheering for a nip slip.
Yeah, that's all you can cheer for at this point. Well, I mean, you probably need one. Just look at their Instagram and shit.
Yeah, right. All right. You guys want to touch on the NFC Championship game at all? I got 1 point that I want to drive home.
That they're just
let's hear it.
fucking whiners. I mean, they're becoming one of the most hated fucking teams and fan bases in the world after that ass whooping.
Number one.
Yep.
San Francisco 49ers. Okay, we got that out of the way. Number 2. Number 1 defense in the NFL, supposedly. The Eagles hung 31 points on you. Call it what you will. We hung 31 points on you. And you can sit there and bitch, piss, and moan and fucking, oh, we lost 2 quarterbacks in the same game. Yeah, you lost 2 quarterbacks in the same game because you can't fucking block our pass rush.
Yep.
You lost 2 quarterbacks in the same game because your O-line is soft and because your team didn't want it bad enough and because your coach didn't have the wherewithal to put somebody in the game like Justin Juszczyk, who at least had some experience throwing a goddamn football in high school. If you want to be mad at anybody as a 49ers fan, be mad at Kyle Shanahan.
And be mad at Defensive Player of the Year, Nick Bosa, for getting shut down by someone with a fucked up groin.
That's right. When Josh Johnson went out and you decided that you're going to put Brock Purdy back out there to hand the ball off.
Yep.
When, like I said, you got Juszczyk, who played quarterback in high school. High school and NFL, very different. I understand that. But at least you have the threat that somebody could throw the ball.
Yeah, or you have
off the run because we knew they had no other option.
Yeah, or you have 2 of the hardest guys to tackle in the NFL, McCaffrey and Deebo Samuel. You line them up in a fucking wildcat, which the Eagles haven't been practicing against all year, and just start telling them hand off or don't hand off. One of you take the ball. Do something. Then do a pop pass to Kittle. I mean, they showed no
creativity.
No, yeah, exactly. He's supposed to be this great offensive mind. You got to figure something out. And you knew by halftime that you had to figure something out.
He fucking turtled.
Yep.
That team went into their shell, and they let us kick their ass.
Yep. And then even if Purdy was in, we were winning that game. We have 4.5 sacks, and they all came pretty much in the first half because they didn't throw the ball in the second half. So imagine if they had to drop back and throw the ball. That pass rush pinned our ears back. We probably would have had 8-9 sacks. The moment that game started and that we drove down the field, scored a touchdown, and that defense line got on the field with that crowd, they were jumping that count like crazy. I mean, they were getting the first step every time. We were going to destroy them regardless of who was quarterback.
Absolutely. And if you're somebody out there that thinks that this win is somehow less than because of the quarterback situation, just remember, Josh Johnson and Brock Purdy don't play defense. We still hung 31 points on you.
We still ran the ball down your throat with fucking Kenny Gainwell and Miles Sanders.
And to try and cheapen what the Eagles did and say that we've had this cupcake walk to the Super Bowl is absolute bullshit.
They said the same thing 5 years ago.
Yep.
All I say is, well, why didn't your team fucking do it? Where was your team at? No, they didn't have a chance to do it because they fucking suck. So
100%. With that being said, we got that out of the way. Fuck the San Francisco 49ers. Let's talk Super Bowl, baby. Let's talk Super Bowl 57 this Sunday, 6:30 in Arizona. Your team, your town, your Philadelphia fucking Eagles taking on Big Red and the Kansas City Chiefs. Taking on Patrick Mahomes, the man who some are saying stole the MVP this season away from Jalen Hurts. Playing a team with our own Jason Kelce's brother, Travis Kelce. The first time that 2 brothers are facing each other as players in the Super Bowl. This game is oozing with storylines. And if we were some cheap media outlet, I'm sure we would be talking about all of them. But we only care about one thing here on this show, and it's the football. So let's get into it here. What's your feeling going into the game? Let's start off with that, Kyle. We'll start with you.
You know, coming from somebody that did, in fact, pick the Niners last week, I know. I'm really torn on this game. I think I don't know what to think. I really, truly am torn on this game. I think either way, I think I expect it to be a much better game. And I think health-wise and injury-wise, I think that's going to play a key part in it. I'm not sure how healthy Pat Mahomes is. He had an extra week to rest his ankle. They have some wide receiver problems. I think a lot of those guys are going to play. I mean, they had like 4 guys out, last week. So I think that's going to be a big thing. But I do think the Eagles pull it out, despite me being torn. I don't know if this is just an overreaction to the fact that I was just so grossly wrong last week, or if I really do believe it. But I will pick the Eagles to win this game in what I think is going to be a high-scoring affair.
All right. And for the record, you were also very, very wrong about the Giants game. You had that being a close game also.
Yeah,
The Eagles winning, but you had it being a close game. So.
I guess the moral of the story is just don't listen to what I say because I'm wrong an awfully lot.
Well, and I don't like your pick.
You don't like my pick?
No, not this week.
Why is that? Oh, you think I'm
You're wrong a lot. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Let me knock on wood then.
There you go.
I got the Chiefs. I was just lying to y'all.
Let me see the bet slip.
It's not in there yet.
Not in there yet.
It's not in there yet.
Oh,
Waiting for some Sunday boost.
It'll be there. It'll be
Oh,
there.
yeah, tons of shit.
Absolutely. All right, Jake. What about you? Overall outlook on the game? How you feel going in early?
I'm nervously confident. And I say that because I'm super confident, and that makes me nervous. Because usually pulling my hair out like, oh, how are we going to beat this team? How are we going to beat this team? But I'm looking at it as how are we going to lose to this team? And the only way we can is Patrick Mahomes has just a monster game. That's the only way possible.
That's pretty much it, right?
Yeah.
Which kind of leads me into my outlook on this game, which is the Chiefs don't really have the ability to control the ball. They can't take the air out of the football and run it down your throat. They don't really have a running game. Their running game is the screen game to Pacheco. That's it. For the most part, like I said, they really can't run it down your throat, right? So they're not going to be able to take significant amounts of time off the clock. If they're scoring, they're going to do it quickly. And so, one, I feel confident in the Eagles' ability to control the football, take the air out of the ball, run the ball down the opposing team's throat. And two, I'm confident in these corners. I feel good. I think we have one of the best trios of cornerback in the NFL. And I think you're going to see it this week against the Chiefs receiving core that I don't necessarily think is all that great, right? I mean, since Tyreek Hill's left, our number 2 receiver would be their clear-cut number 1, and it's not even close.
Absolutely.
So go ahead.
Sorry, my bad, buddy. You mentioned the corners on the receivers, right? I think the Eagles are clearly better there. I mean, the receivers will still get open sometimes. It's just a passing league. But what about Travis Kelce? Who guards him, and how often does he win? Because he's not listed at receiver, but let's be honest, he's the clear one in that offense. And I've been reading some people saying, line up C.J. Gardner-Johnson on him. That's your best chance. What's your guys' thoughts on that particular matchup and the Kelce matchup in general?
So
who do you think's going to be up against Kelce?
Yeah. What is that? Throwing multiple bodies at him?
Yeah, I think
Gardner-Johnson on him.
I think Gardner-Johnson will be the primary guy, but you can't let Patrick Mahomes know who's going to be on him. I think you got to. I forget what they said on the radio. I think the Giants played the Chiefs a year or two ago, and they put Bradbury on him, and he had 4 catches for like 35 yards. And that was
going to be my next thing. I was going to say probably a mixture of Gardner-Johnson and Bradbury. I mean, he has, I think it was the second best. I know it was at least top 5 passer rating against in the NFL this year.
Yeah.
But Bradbury's typically more of a zone coverage guy. You mentioned success a couple years ago, but typically he's more a guy that plays more zone coverage. So I don't know about that on Kelce, but I don't know. I think that's maybe do they double him consistently and just make one of the Chiefs receivers win?
That could work also, but then you're counting on Jonathan Gannon to play a lot of man coverage, which I don't think he's going to do. I think it's going to be a lot of zone.
No, I would never anticipate man coverage from him.
Yeah, my biggest worry is that they pay too much attention to Kelsey and we start getting popped with these screens against McKinnon. He has 9 receiving touchdowns.
That's crazy, dude.
For running back.
What was it, 6 weeks in a row, right?
Yeah, that's another guy we have to key on because Andy Reid loves the screens, and the best way to slow down a pass rush is to dump it over their head, make them think twice about coming all the way upfield. And Mahomes can throw it well, and McKinnon, you get him in open space. Even I call him Pistachio. I don't know, Pacheco. Even he can move. He gets the ball in open space. He has the speed to break one for a big gain. So, got to keep our eyes on those guys.
Absolutely. And for the Eagles on the offensive side of the ball, whose week is it? Kenny Gainwell coming off, his first career 100-yard rushing game. Sanders was just under 100 yards. Maybe it's a passing game. Who's your guys' guy? I didn't say that right, but who's the guy on offense that you think has a big game for the Eagles this week?
That's a great question, and I'll throw it over to Jake, and then I'll give you my answer.
I honestly think it's going to be Devontae Smith. He's been in huge games before, and he's made huge catches before. They have 2 rookie corners. They have a good starting corner, and I feel like he's going to follow A.J. Brown everywhere. So that's going to open things up for Devontae Smith. And obviously, I think all running backs are going to get touches. They're going to have success. But that play action to Devontae Smith, I think, is going to be deadly, and I think he has a huge game for us on Sunday.
So,
oh, that's a big sigh right there.
Well, see, there's 2 ways you can go with this, right? Do you go with somebody that catches the ball, or do you go with a running back, right? Because there's the Eagles' ability to run the football and control the clock. And I think that poses well against a team like the Chiefs that are extremely pass happy and have a limited run game. So there's that. And then there's also, hey, we like to pass. We like to pass the ball. We like to put up points early, then run the ball late. So it really comes down to what kind of offensive approach does Nick Sirianni and Shane Steichen want to go with here. So I'm going to take the easy answer here, and I'm going to say that we're going to go as far as our quarterback takes us.
There we go. I was
Oh,
waiting for it. I was waiting for it. So, a couple things. I agree with what you said. The run game's primarily been.
And real quick, that's not just because I am a Hurts guy. That is also because he's the only player that can affect the game in both the running and passing situations.
All right, I like that answer. So I'm really glad you put in your boy Jalen Hurts there. I thought that was a pretty good layup for you. A couple things. Back to what Jake said, Devontae Smith. Devontae's been playing more in the slot, since he started coming on. And their best corner, L'Jarius Sneed, primarily has been playing in the slot. Not that I think he has a bad game, but maybe that makes me think it's more of an A.J. Brown game. I don't know. Just put my 2 cents out there on that. And I also agree with what Sean said. If the Eagles win the game, I got to imagine Hurts is the MVP. I just can't see any way about it where it doesn't go to Hurts as the MVP if the Eagles win. I mean, you got to see a defensive player with like maybe a pick six. Hassan Reddick's got to have maybe like 4 sacks or like a 2-tutty game by somebody in the offense, right? Like Jalen Hurts has just got to be the MVP if they win, right?
Right.
I mean, it depends if we throw the ball or if we have Kenny G running 120 yards again or Miles Sanders 95.
Kenny G ain't sniffing 50, 40.
Yeah, okay.
Well, you got him for over 40 rushing yards.
Yeah.
Bet me $20 right now. Kenny G
right,
under.
go.
What's that?
Over 40.
Over 40. I'll take the under on that.
All right. $20.
Or do we want to do 39.5?
Oh my God. You're a true good bettor right there. I like the way you set lines. I like 39.5. Can we get a renegotiation on that?
All right.
I just don't want there to be a no action.
Right.
I want somebody taking home somebody else's money.
Nah, I like how you think.
Got it.
Absolutely. All right.
Just like that, I locked in my first Super Bowl bet. I was waiting. It comes right in like that.
Remember when a gentleman's bet used to be $1?
Nah,
Yep.
I've never made a gentleman's bet of $1.
$20 now. That fucking inflation, man.
Yep.
Oh man. All right. So, Kyle, you asked us who's going to make a difference on the offensive side of the ball. I'll throw it over. I'll flip that question on its head. Who's going to make a difference on the defensive side of the football?
Oh, I mean, clear. I
And
mean,
I
there's a
think
lot
this
of
one's going
guys.
to be a little easier to pick because the Chiefs' offense, while it is electrifying and it is high octane, is predictable.
It is predictable. Okay, I like that. I mean, as much as it like this was crazy, right? As much as it is predictable, it's so unpredictable too, right? It's like
Yeah,
there's
'cause
so
how the play breaks down and Mahomes can do anything when the
yeah,
play.
but I mean that too. But then like it's like how many times do you like see like a Kelsey screen in the game, and it's like it's coming, but they just somehow creatively get it to him. So it's like they're somehow both of that.
It's like us running the ball.
But I think if there's going to be a clear impact on the defensive side of the ball, I mean, it can come from a lot of areas, but it's got to be Hassan Reddick. I mean, 2 multi-sack games in the playoffs. The Chiefs got a very good offensive line, and we talked about earlier, Mahomes' ankle is a little bummed up. I'm sure it's feeling a little bit better, but dude, if he can get to the quarterback, make him move, make him test that mobility, another multi-sack game from Hassan Reddick. I mean, especially in the Super Bowl, it's got to cement him as one of the premier pass rushers in the NFL.
Absolutely. And, I mean, he's pretty much been a layup pick on the defensive side of the ball every week this season.
Yeah.
Now, you did mention the Travis Kelce screen pass there and how they always seem to find yards with that particular play. And, I can't help but think that a lot of that has to do with the way that teams have traditionally played the Chiefs since they've, kind of come to stardom here. And a lot of that had to do with Tyreek Hill and his ability to take the top off of the defense. And I think a lot of teams are still playing them similarly, right? I think that's where you really saw this 4-high shell coverage really start to take the league by storm because it was the only way that you could contain the Chiefs' offense in years past. But they don't have Tyreek Hill anymore, and they don't have anybody that really scares me in that receiver corps. I mentioned it earlier. I kind of trust our corners to win one-on-one. And I think with that, we're going to have the ability to kind of get some guys up a little closer to the line of scrimmage and try to mitigate that screen game, whether it be to either one of the running backs or to Travis Kelce. But it all comes down to Jonathan Gannon and just how much of his nuts he's willing to put out on the table.
Jake, who do you got on the defensive side of the ball?
Well, I had a free $10 bet, and I put on long odds for MVP.
Ooh.
So I gotta stick with my guy Gardner Johnson.
Okay.
Give me a couple picks, maybe a pick 6 or a long return that sets up for a touchdown. And I just think since he's played for them, he's had 6 interceptions, tied for the league lead, missed 6 games, something like that, 4 to 6 games. And when he came back, I mean, you noticed him right away. He was in on every tackle, in on every play. He was at the ball every time it was thrown his way. And I think he's going to have a huge game, either defending Kelce or just picking off Mahomes. And Mahomes will make mistakes because he thinks he has the talent to fit in every ball that he throws. So he's going to make a mistake. We just got to capitalize on it. And another thing I want to say about the defensive side is, like, if our pass rush is so good, how long does it take for them to bring in Kelce to start chipping these guys, which then could additionally take Kelce out of passing games. I mean, if you leave – I mean, this Chiefs offensive line, I think, is giving up 55 sacks in the regular season, which is a good bit. You have a pass rush that had 70 sacks in the season. A lot of teams would bring in running backs and tight ends to chip and help. I mean, if we start getting pressure and Kelce has to drop in and start chipping, I mean, that plays in our favor huge, like big time. So get a pass rush early, and the game should be ours. So, I mean, obviously the pass rush would be the go-to, but I put a $10 bet on Gardner Johnson to win MVP, so I'm hoping for a monster game somehow from Gardner Johnson. Win me $1,500.
What were those odds at?
15,000.
15,000. All right. So real quick, you said that the Chiefs offense gave up 55 sacks. Not that that's all on the offensive line. I think they have a very good O-line. A lot of that's from Mahomes extending plays and doing what he does. And they might chip in Kelce, but I think, they probably bring in Noah Gray to block, help out with
and
that.
you're taken away from somewhere. Like, you can't just bring a guy in and it's not taken away from anywhere. So it's either receiver or running back getting taken out of the equation.
No,
I
absolutely.
think that's a great point, Kyle, too, because you see you see it a lot from guys like, I mean, hell, we saw it with Doug Peterson. Andy Reid and the guys in his coaching tree love running the 12 personnel with 2 tight ends. So I absolutely don't think it's out of the question to bring Noah Gray in.
No, absolutely. One more question. Who do you think is a surprise player to make an impact? Not win MVP, but somebody that's under the radar, not as big, makes a big splash play that, changes the impact of the game.
Oof. That's a great question because
On either team. Let's not just make this about the Birds.
right. So you see this in every Super Bowl, right? There's always one guy that kind of comes out of nowhere. I think it was Jacoby Jones in the Baltimore Ravens 49ers Super Bowl. Kind of came out of nowhere. Willed that team
Jacoby
to victory.
Jones. That's a name from the past.
Yep. If you remember correctly, he had a couple of big plays at the end of that game that really helped them win that Super Bowl. A lot of people thought that he should have got that MVP as opposed to Joe Flacco, which was that was actually something I was going to bring up earlier when we were talking about MVPs. I kind of feel like the MVP for the most part is a quarterback award.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
nothing sells that point more than Joe Flacco winning that Super Bowl MVP. But I digress.
Well, even, piggybacking off your idea or your thought there, when the Chiefs won the Super Bowl, Mahomes got it. I thought the running back, was it Darrell or Damian Williams should have gotten it. He had 2 tutties, over 100 total yards. He had the game-sealing touchdown late in the 4th quarter. So just piggybacking off your thought, 100% agree with it.
Right. And as for unsung heroes in the past, I mean, you don't have to look no further than Super Bowl 52 and Corey Clement in a Philly special. So there's an unsung hero in every single Super Bowl for the winning team. And honestly, it's a great question by you, Kyle. For me, I think my unsung hero, the guy that's going to make a difference and maybe not necessarily get the press that he's going to deserve. I got to say, I think it's going to be Javon Hargrave.
Okay. I like that. I mean, multi-sack guy, big presence in the inside of the D-line.
I'm confident in his ability to create pressure up the middle. I think he'll be able to flush Mahomes out. As we mentioned, Mahomes loves to extend plays. And, no matter what, you can't really take that element out of his game. I mean, you saw him extend plays even with the high ankle sprain. And I can't think that he's 100% healthy from that yet either. So I think if Hargrave can get some pressure up the middle, flush him out to the guys on the edge, it'll give them enough time to win against the tackles and get Mahomes down. So I think Javon Hargrave is going to be kind of an unsung hero here in this Super Bowl. Jake, I'll throw it over to you.
Kenny G.
Dude, come on,
Leading
dude.
rusher on the team, 160 yards, 2 games in the playoffs. Playoff Kenny, baby.
Dude, come
Kenny
on.
G is going to have another monster game.
I'll tell you this. I don't think there definitely is not a player on the Eagles that I hate more than Kenny.
Why? Because he's going to take over starting reps from your boy Miles Sanders next year when Miles Sanders is playing for some bums team like the Houston Texans.
Well, listen, we all know, if anybody is an avid listener of this podcast, we all know how big of a Miles Sanders truther I am. But I've also been, adamant from day one. You don't pay running backs. You don't re-sign Miles Sanders. So I just want to say that first off. Second off, everybody thought this guy was going to be like Darren Sproles or something, and he just sucks. And, they used the excuse, oh, maybe he's struggling to pick up the offense. Dude, he was been in the offense for 2 years. If he's struggling to pick it up, then he's just a fucking idiot.
Maybe he was
either that or maybe he just sucks. No, he wasn't just waiting for the playoffs.
It could have something to do with the fact that they were lining him up at receiver for much of this season and all of last season.
He just sucks. I don't want to hear it.
160 yards in 2 playoff games against 2 good defenses says otherwise.
2 good defenses? Didn't they play the Vikings?
No, the Giants and the 49ers.
Oh, fuck, man, I just had a brain fart there.
What the fuck, dude?
Dude, let's forget I said that. I might have exposed myself a little bit there.
No. We're clipping that one. We're clipping that one.
Oh, man, what a brain fart. So,
hold on.
It's a different. It's like a weird shade of blue.
Did they play the Viking shark?
Yeah. Okay, you got it. I'm never gonna hear the end of that one.
Oh my god.
So
that's terrible, and I'm gonna be on this.
Yeah, I know you are. I know you are.
3 years from now.
I already know it's gonna be on the YouTube Shorts later, but for my unsung hero of the game, And let me finish before you guys react. I think the biggest, I don't even want to call it unsung hero, but I want to think the biggest player to make an impact that's not a household name on the Chiefs.
Oh.
And in a negative way, I have Sky Moore. So nobody's a bigger Sky Moore truther than me. I think he's gonna have a fantastic year next year. I'm gonna be all over him in my fantasy drafts. But they just keep using him at punt returner, and he has problems fumbling the ball. I think he has 3 lost fumbles on the year at punt return, and they just are so adamant about forcing him into that role. I would not be surprised at all to see a fumble late in the game,
You know what my thing
turnover,
is?
short field for the Eagles.
You know what my problem with that is?
What's that?
Our punters suck. And we don't even know who's punting for us yet. And whoever it is, they suck. So I would tell this guy, just stay away from the ball or fair catch everything because it's probably only going to net 35-yard punt.
That's the problem. He can't field him. He's had three
Well,
fumbles
just let
just
it
fielding
bounce.
them.
Bounce.
Just let it
Where it's
bounce.
going to go is probably 50 yards. So just let it bounce.
I just wanted to shoot that out as a maybe call
Yeah,
my shot.
I would
Something
like
will
it.
happen. Of course.
And that's another thing we got to see who's going to be the punter. I thought Kearns was going to be a good punter for us. He's been fucking absolute dog shit.
Nobody loves talking about punting more than my guy over there. Tell me about it, Sean.
Yep. He wanted us to clip that McAfee thing about the punter being great and the motherfucker's netting like 27 yards.
Look, okay, I was wrong about Brett Kearns. Okay, I was wrong. But for what it's worth, if I'm going to trust anybody's word on punters, it would probably be Pat McAfee, a guy that was an all-pro punter and was part of the NFL's all-decades team. But I digress. Now, as for the punting situation for your team, your town, your Philadelphia Eagles this weekend, I don't think it's going to make a fucking difference. What happened in Super Bowl 52? There wasn't a single punt. It was two high-power offenses.
I think we had 2 punts. That was it.
Tit for tat.
I do think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I don't see it going any other way.
I don't think it's going to be a huge game for flipping field position. Now, I am a huge proponent of flipping field position. That's why I think you got to have a quality punter.
Matter of fact, what's this over-under at?
Cam Johnston the year that we won the Super Bowl in Super Bowl 50.
And their punter, the Chiefs punter, is netting 50 yards a punt.
Very good punter.
Which is fucking huge. So that could be a huge factor in the game.
100%. But that's if it comes down to that, right? Like I'm kind of with Kyle that I think it's going to be a high-scoring affair. I mean, this is 2 great offenses squaring off.
Over under 50 and a half.
Low-scoring affair is if the Eagles decide that they want to run the ball and win that way.
Yep.
And
that's what they should do.
Absolutely. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different routes you can go, but like I said, I don't think the punters are going to be that big of a detail in this game. I don't think they're going to be a huge part of the storyline of Super Bowl 57.
Let's hope not, because we have the worst punter, so it'd probably be bad for us.
Absolutely. All right, so we're talking a lot about players here, and who's going to make an impact, who's going to do this, who's going to do that. So it sounds like dog of the week to me. I mean, we're talking players, so let's throw it over to dog of the week. All right, dog of the week brought to you by Neshaminy Creek Brewing Company, home of some of the best craft beers money can buy. That's Neshaminy Creek Brewing Company right here in the heart of Bucks County. Check them out, Neshaminy Creek Brewing Company, available anywhere fine beverages are sold. And for those of you out there in Delco, make sure you check out Sterling Pig Brewing Company. Go visit the tap room out there in Media. Check out some of their awesome beers. They can also be found at some of your local Acme's out there in Delco also. If I can make a recommendation to you, it would certainly be the Orange Street Wheat from our friends at Sterling Pig. It's absolutely one of my top craft beers. It should be one of yours also. All right. Dog of the week, boys. Let's throw it around here. I guess dog of the week is really going to be Super Bowl MVP this week. So I'm just going to go ahead and take my boy off the board. It's going to be Jalen Hurts. We talked about this earlier while you were in the girls' room, Jake. But Super Bowl MVP for the most part over the last decade or two has for the most part been a quarterback award, unless it's something like Julian Edelman where he was really the
Cooper
deciding
Cup
factor
last year.
in that game. Cooper Cup last year.
Yeah.
Um, you really got to be you really have to be the reason your team wins to win Super Bowl MVP if you're not a quarterback. If it's a good all around team game, the quarterback 9 times out of 10 is going to take home the award. So I got to go with my boy. I got to go with Jalen Hurts. I mentioned it earlier. This team's only going to go as far as Hurts takes them, and he's the only guy that's going to be able to get involved in the running and the passing game. So Kyle, I'll throw it over to you. Who's your pick for dog of the week,
You
possibly
know,
Super Bowl MVP?
but before I give my, dog of the week / MVP, I just want to give a quick thought on Jalen Hurts and how big of a game this is for him. Obviously, I think he's going to be the favorite to win it if the Eagles win it, like we already said. But this is such a big game for him, right? Like Tom Brady's retiring, Aaron Rodgers is potentially retiring. If he wins this game and, leading into the offseason with all the momentum, he's pushing himself for a top 5 quarterback spot. I can't think, this might not be a common opinion, but if Wentz didn't get injured in 2017, and if they potentially won the Super Bowl with him at the helm, I can't help but think how differently his career would have played out. Not that he would have been elite or anything like that, but his career would have played out so much differently. And for Jalen Hurts winning this Super Bowl in his second year as the starter, or his second year as a starter, I mean, that's just going to be so huge for him. So I just want to get that right off the rip, and say that. But if I'm picking dog of the week, it's going to be AJ Brown. We already said it. I think it's going to be high scoring. That's probably the easy opinion there. But sometimes the easiest, the most obvious opinion is the best one. And I think he's the most set up for success.
I like it. Jake, who you got, man? Dog of the week.
I mean, the obvious one would be to go with the quarterback if we're gonna go MVP, but I'm gonna go someone who's been an absolute dog all year and someone who I've rolled with a lot this year for my dog of the week, and that's Josh Sweat. I think the Chiefs put a lot of attention and emphasis on getting a block on Hassan Reddick, and Sweat just has a motor, and I think that motor is going to get him sack and a half, maybe 2. Probably won't win MVP, but he's going to affect the game enough to where it helps us win the game. And I think he's just going to be an absolute monster. And I love that he's finally having a year we were all hoping he could have after we signed him early. So I hope he keeps it up for one more game this year.
That's a great pick, and I love that you mentioned that. We signed him early because early this season, I think we were all kind of curious, right? Was this the right move by Howie?
Mm-hmm.
He didn't really show much last year. Obviously, he had that health scare towards the end of the season. And for the most part, his health's been the biggest question about him, right? He was the top recruit coming out of high school, top recruit in college, hurt himself late, which is what allowed him to fall to the Philadelphia Eagles where he did. And so we really didn't know much about him. And then we pay him early. And to this point, it's worked out great.
Yep.
And I think that's just, one more win in the Howie Roseman column. We're seeing it this year. And, I really want to give Howie and Jeffrey Lurie their flowers here tonight because it's not often. Matter of fact, I don't have the exacts in front of me, but this is the first time I can remember the same team being back in the Super Bowl within 5 years with a different coach, different quarterback, and I'll take it a step further with the same GM.
Yep.
This organization continues to find players in these late rounds like Josh Sweat and, secure guys that are going to be long-term Eagles. And it seems that Jalen Hurts is going to be, a slam dunk pick where we got him in the second round. So I just want to give these guys the shout out and the love that they deserve here. I guess since we're going more dog of the week, not so much MVP, I'll give a second pick. I got to go Brandon Graham. he's just got that dog in him. He's got that big game fucking energy. He shows up. He's got that clutch gene. Obviously the forced fumble in Super Bowl 52, a couple of game sealing sacks this year. Arguably his best season this year, coming off of a torn Achilles. I mean, he just proves day in and day out why he's that dog, why he's that fucking dude, and why we love him so much here in Philadelphia. So I think Brandon Graham's another guy in the running for dog of the week.
I like that. If they win, this could potentially be his last game as an Eagle. I mean, he's going to be 35 by the time next season starts.
But god damn, he's having the best season of his fucking career.
I hear you, but 35 coming off a Super Bowl, I mean, what better way to go out? Like you said, off the best year of his career. So that's just a potential thing to think about.
Absolutely. Well, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it, right? Yeah, a lot of great picks here, and I'm interested to kind of see who we pick for our dog of the week next week. All right, now we got to dive into it. The Super Bowl is the biggest betting day of the year, hands down. You have all these sports books releasing prop bets that they otherwise wouldn't do. You have all these crazy bets out there available to you, like what color is the Gatorade that's going to be dumped on the winning coach going to be? Which company is going to have the first Super Bowl commercial? All these crazy fucking bets that you don't get any other time of the year. You get the money.
Jump the
I
gun.
think Jake's telling me it's time to do the intro, so we're going to throw it over to our
Got a fat finger in it. Clicked it.
Here comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money. Money, money,
Dollar, dollar.
All right. Not so sharp picks of the week brought to you by our friends at Norse Beards. That's Norse Beards, NORSE Beards.com. You got that Super Bowl beard going on like myself and Jake over there, and even Kyle, because I talked him into it. Make sure you use our friends at Norse Beards. Use our promo code OCS for 25% off your entire order. That's 25% off your entire order of all the best beard care products money can buy from our friends at Norse Beards. Also brought to you by Righteous Felon Beef Jerky, some of the absolute best craft beef jerky out there, made right here in Pennsylvania, out there in Westchester. That's Righteous Felon Beef Jerky, promo code OCSN for 15% off your entire order. And last but certainly not least, our friends over at Fanatics. Make sure you use our link down below in the description. Let them know Sundays for the Birds and Old City Sports Network sent you. That is Fanatics, the home of everything official. Make sure you check them out. Get your Super Bowl 57 gear before the big game. All right, guys, not so sharp picks of the week. I would be remiss if I did not throw it to our degenerate gambler, our own resident, I don't want to call him a sharp because, well, we all know he's not so sharp. Kyle, not so sharp. What do you got for us? This is like a national holiday for you. Super Bowl Sunday.
Man. So, I told you guys earlier I haven't, placed any bets yet, waiting for some specials, but my first one came out with Jake. I'll definitely take, that one with him. I'll also take the over at 50.5. I think that's definitely a good pick. And Sean, you mentioned specials, that they don't normally have. I always scroll through that. Some stuff always worth a sprinkle. Haven't placed it yet, but Chris Jones and Hassan Reddick to both have 2+ sacks at plus 3,000, I think is worth a sprinkle. Reddick, 2 multi-sack games. Chris Jones coming off his first career playoff sack last week or 2 weeks ago. Maybe, he keeps the momentum going and gets 2. I think that's worth a sprinkle, but as of yet, I don't have any crazy parlays or any crazy bets, but that's where I'm looking so far to start.
All right. Well, I definitely like that. I like that Chris Jones, Hassan Reddick pick. That's certainly a great value pick. So I'm going to give you one here just straight up. I've said it a couple times already tonight. I got Jalen Hurts winning Super Bowl MVP. I got $50 on it of my own money. I am fairly confident in that. And if I were to make a parlay, throw some big money on it, I'm certainly going Eagles to cover and over 50.5, like you mentioned, Kyle. I think that's a good number there. These are two high octane offenses going at it. And, the Chiefs defense is a little bit suspect. So I feel that we're going to have an opportunity to really put some points up against this Chiefs team. Jake, we'll throw it over to you. What's your not so sharp picks of this week?
I just put in a couple bets on MVP, higher odds. Like I said, I did a free bet, Gardner Johnson to win $1,500, $10. He's plus 15,000. I also put 10 on Hassan Reddick to win 350. So and I was just looking. I was thinking I was going to do last touchdown scorer, Devontae Smith, because like I said, I feel like he's just in those big moments, he makes big plays, and I feel like a late touchdown is going to be what wins us the game. And I think Devontae Smith will be the one scoring it. So that's a plus 1,000. If you put a 10 on him, you win $100. Be last touchdown scorer.
All right, nice. A lot of good stuff there. I don't know what my total bets are going to be, but I'm going to guess I'm going to have at least 10 different plus bets on a single game.
Yeah, I did a bunch of other ones too, but my wife had a bunch of specials on her phone because she doesn't bet a lot, so there was in her boatload of shit. So I put in bets on that last night, and some were just parlays, like over 25 yards for Gainwell, over 30 yards for Sanders. Just took like a bunch of low parlays that pay out pretty good. So, but I'm sure Sunday morning I'll be throwing more in as well when they come out with all these awesome specials that they do.
Yeah, I mean, that's always how it goes, right? You're like, all right, I'm all good. I'm locked in. And then it's like, next thing you know, 20 minutes before lock, it's like, yeah, somehow I doubled my bets. I don't know how that happened.
Yeah, and I like how see that every time I log in now, they ask you like a betting question for Super Bowl. Like I just logged in on FanDuel and it was like, will the longest field goal be over 46.5 or under 46.5? Like that's a good one because a lot of times both these teams are going to go for it. If it's like 4th and 3,
Yeah.
with a 50-yard field goal, most likely they're going for it. So it's kind of hard to take that over 46.5. I'd probably go under on that, unless he's a lone game winner.
Bringing up field goal kicks. What's this thing about Gronk kicking a field goal at half? What is that?
Yeah, no, it's like at the end of the third quarter or something. I guess if you opt in or something, if he makes it, you could win money. If he doesn't, I guess no one wins money. I don't know if you have to pay for it. My buddy was telling me about it.
No, you don't have to pay for it. I think all you have to do is place a bet on the Super Bowl.
Okay.
If you have any bet on the Super Bowl, they're going to give a portion of money. I think it's like a couple million to FanDuel users if Gronk makes it.
Yeah, and if I had to bet, he's gonna miss it. That motherfucker's gonna be loaded up by the third quarter.
Supposedly, I saw a clip saying he was practicing and stuff. So
yeah. Well, he's not practicing seeing 3 balls when he's all fucking a 30-pack deep. Unless he's doing coverage. I don't know if he's doing Super Bowl coverage. So, he is Fox, so he probably is. So he probably can't drink. As long as he doesn't talk to a woman in a hotel lobby like Michael Irvin.
Oh, man.
Never a bad time to slam the Cowboys.
Yep.
Although Michael Irvin's been a pretty big Eagles fan this year, I think.
Yeah, I think he's more doing that, reverse psychology bullshit where it's like, I'm going to talk them up. Hope they fail.
Could be.
Fuck that guy.
Personally,
Are you guys ready to give your final scores?
I'm ready if you guys are.
I already put in a bet on my final score, so.
Oh, you picked an exact score?
Yeah.
All right, let me do that right now.
Final score predictions powered by Row 1. Make sure you use our promo code OCSN15 for 15% off all artwork site-wide from our friends at Row 1. Makes a great addition to any man cave. All right, guys. Final score predictions. Jake, you said you got yours ready to go, so let's hear it.
I got Eagles 27, the Chiefs 23. Sean, while you're away, I had as one of my bets of the week is Devontae Smith being the last touchdown scorer. So I think Devontae Smith gets a late touchdown, gives us the lead, The defense holds Mahomes because they need a touchdown. They can't, get 4 points off field goal. So I think 27-23, and also because the over-under is 51.5, and I think a lot of people are going to bet over, so they're going to keep that thing right at 50, 27-23. We're having another parade, and I can't fucking wait.
All right. So I'll give my pick here because I think Kyle's still trying to do math.
See the hamster spinning through his eyes.
So I think it's going to hit the over, like I mentioned earlier, and I think the Eagles cover. With that being said, I think Eagles 31, Chiefs 21. We got a 10-point victory in Super Bowl 57.
So
with
just
the Eagles
over.
walking away. Just barely hitting the over.
I'll take that. That sounds like less of a heart attack type of score like mine is.
It's got to be 2 possessions.
I'm trying to find an exact score that I like here. I
You
like
have
the
to scroll
Eagles.
all the way down. It's a pain in the ass.
I like the Eagles to reach 40 points.
Damn.
I think it's a 1-possession game. This is what I like right here.
41-33. Repeat.
41-38 Eagles plus 42,000. Oh, what is this? FanDuel gave me a free $5 bet. Shout out them. $5 wins $2,100.
Sounds like you're putting that on your exact score then.
That's what I'm
That'd be
blocking
one of
in
the greatest Super
right
Bowls of
now.
all time if that's the score, because it's gonna be fucking just like the Eagles Patriots, just nerve wracking as hell, back and forth, back and forth.
Absolutely. All right, that's your
All
final
right.
score predictions powered by Row 1. All right, so real quick here, I do want to talk about one more thing here before we go to final thoughts. I want to know if this is something that you guys take any stock in at all, and that is that stat that's been floating around for about a week and a half now. That I think it's something like 80% of the Super Bowl winning teams have been wearing away jerseys, have been wearing white jerseys. I don't know if you guys take any stock into that, but it's certainly an interesting trend. I will say this: the last time the Eagles won a Super Bowl, they were wearing midnight green. So I'm not too worried about it. But I know, Jake, you're a pretty superstitious guy, so I'm interested to hear your thoughts.
My superstition this week and my setup this week is the fact that I'm pretty sure this stadium's called State Farm. It's sponsored by State Farm. So you know who else is sponsored by State Farm? Patrick Mahomes, and also Andy Reid was in the State Farm commercial. So if I'm going to have any jinx or any suspicion, it's going to be that, or the fact that they assigned a shithole head referee that is always top 3 in throwing flags.
I was
and
looking
also,
for the referee one.
Also, the Eagles are like 7-9 in games, something like that, 7-8, and the Chiefs are like 16-7 in games that he's refereed. Good thing is, it's not his crew; it's all people. I think one guy's from his crew, and the rest are handpicked from other crews. So, and I'm hoping Roger Goodell just says, "Hey, unless it's blatant, keep that fucking flag in your pocket." Just like the Super Bowl 5 years ago, the officiating just let the fucking game go. They didn't call anything ridiculous. Didn't give anybody any chance of bitching about a blown call. And I think that's how the Super Bowl should be, unless it's fucking 100% obvious.
Zach Ertz didn't get that first down.
Yeah. So it's
Sean, I thought you were going to lead out with the referee stacks. That's the one I've been hearing. But, I think when it's your team, and like, we talked about earlier with the diehard sports fan, diehard Eagles fan, I think you get a little worried when you hear something like that, even though it really doesn't mean anything. But for the most part, I mean, you don't take any of that stuff into account. I mean, it's just freaking dudes looking up stuff and coming up with the weirdest things you never think you'd hear.
One more thing that does worry me too is that the big stat of no MVP, the regular season MVP quarterback has won a Super Bowl since like 99. So since the 2000s, no MVP regular season MVP has won the Super Bowl, and there's got to be a first time for everything. And usually it seems like every time you're watching a Philadelphia sport, you hear, "Oh, that's a career first for this dickhead," and it's like, "Oh, yeah, it's always happened." So hopefully not this Sunday.
All right, Jake, I'm not going to let you send us out on Negadelphia, so we're going to throw final thoughts here.
Hype talk.
So we'll give you one more shot at it. But before we do, I will throw it over to Kyle because we all know this is his favorite segment. Kyle, what do you got for us? Final thoughts here tonight, leading up to Super Bowl 57 this Sunday.
You know, I touched on it earlier. Career-defining moment for Jalen Hurts. Potentially could catapult himself into a top 5 quarterback with this win. He'd be in the argument. He wouldn't be on Mahomes' level, but he'd be in the argument. And I want to say it again. Boy, was I wrong about him in a big, big way. That's really, I know, that's really all I got. I'm more ready to hear the mayor's final thought and have him pump us up for it.
All right, before I do that, I got to throw it over to Nervous Nelly over there. Jake, what do you
Nervous
got for us?
Nelly.
All right, well, we didn't mention the motherfucker all show long, so I'll mention him. Andy Reid.
Oh,
A lot of people hate Andy Reid. I honestly love Andy Reid because that era of Philadelphia Eagles football, outside of Jeffrey Lurie, it was Andy Reid and Jim Johnson who completely turned this organization around. So you got to give him his props for that. Made it a powerhouse. Gave me some of the best Eagles seasons of my life through middle school and high school and things like that. So got to thank him for that. But you fat fuck, you're not keeping us from one more Super Bowl. All right. You're already screwed us out of 5 and losing 3 NFC championships or 4 NFC championships and losing a Super Bowl. You're not going to beat us this Sunday and keep the Eagles from winning another one. The Birds are going to kick your ass, and I fucking can't wait. Go Birds.
All right.
Let's hear it.
Guys. I do have one negative to start off with.
Oh,
and this one is aimed at the city of Philadelphia, who is already starting to announce plans for a Super Bowl parade. We saw how this turned out in 2004. Bill Belichick decided to read the published plans in his post-game press conference. I understand that these things are big and they need to be planned, but you do not have to publish them. So to whatever asshole released them, you better hope they fucking win, because if not, the whole city's coming for you. Now time for the hype speech, boys. I know you're fucking waiting for it. So this Sunday at 6:30 in Glendale, Arizona, your team, your town, your Philadelphia Eagles are taking on former head coach Andy Reid, brother of one of the all-time greats to ever wear midnight green, Jason Kelce, and his brother Travis Kelce. Oozing with storylines, as I mentioned earlier. But there's only going to be one storyline coming out.
okay.
And that's going to be the Philadelphia Eagles win their second Super Bowl at the hands of their former head coach, who, as Jake mentioned, lost us 5 Super Bowls with losing 4 NFC championship games and 1 Super Bowl. And I will never forgive Andy Reid for the way that he allowed the Veteran Stadium to be closed out. I'll never forgive him for his piss-poor clock management. But I will be sure to thank him for blowing Super Bowl 57 and letting my favorite football team hoist the Lombardi trophy once again, this time with the franchise quarterback, someone I've been championing all season long in Jalen Hurts. This man is the ultimate leader. He's a phenomenal football player. He silenced haters all year long, and he's going to do it again. He's got a massive chip on his shoulder, and the job ain't done. Rent's due every week, and guess what, baby? We got another rent payment coming up this weekend, and Jalen Hurts is paid in full. Your Philadelphia Eagles win Super Bowl 57, and we'll see you guys back here next Thursday to talk all about it. Go Birds, baby!
E-A-G-L-E